capital. Really as I saw the questions, a lot of them were oriented towards equity, right? And so I said, let me first start by explaining the context of an investor, which is what I am. We all tend to look at things from our own perspective, and I think it is always helpful to look at it from the other perspective, because then you can relate and sort of problem solve, so to speak. So the moment that you think of bringing in outside capital in terms of equity, you're really inviting somebody to be a part of your business, a part owner. But remember, they're coming into a business that is typically not listed, so it's private. Each of you own it, run it, it's your lifeblood, it's your first child in many cases. And they typically have a minority position. So our court system being what it is, whatever the legal agreements, the moment you have to refer to a legal agreement, it's all over, right? I mean, we know how it works. So yes, people spend time on the legal agreements just because they have to, but what's going through the mind of an investor is, oh my gosh, what if something happens, right? I mean, either the person kills the money, or there's just gross mismanagement, or they're thinking in terms of, how do I protect my interests where I really have, once I write the check, I have very little control, no matter what the agreement says. You are thinking, oh my gosh, I'm bringing in this big bad investor, they're going to come and try and take control of my company, they're going to block me at every stage. All that goes through your head as well. So both sides approach this from a little sense of, there's a trust issue, if you will. To make it worse, an equity investor is going to want an exit. They're not coming in for you to be with you necessarily through your generation and for you to pass it to your kids, and that's not their game. Typically, these are folks who have raised money from others. It's not their money, right? I mean, and so they have a fiduciary responsibility to return that capital at some defined period of time back to their investors. And by the way, those investors can be all, meaning I'm sure some of you have invested in PE funds and venture funds and so on. So it's really your money that's going in from this pocket to that pocket, so to speak. Yeah. You want your money back at some point, right?
Absolutely.
And even where it's an individual, like a high net worth individual who says, I'm not going through a fund structure, so they want the option. They may stay with you for 10 years and 15 years and 20 years, that's fine. But they want the option to be able to exit. And that's a very, very important point to make, right? So the moment you think in terms of raising equity, you have to think in terms of, this is not unlike a marriage, which hopefully is for life. This is something where it's a marriage, but with a defined timeline. It's almost like saying we've signed a prenuptial agreement which says that we will separate at some point. So now the question is, okay, if I'm going to separate, how do I do that in an amicable manner which meets both sets of requirements?